Well, I've tested the system in the configuration you see here with the new capacitors and the replacement keyboard, and everything works fine, so I really just need to put everything back together now. And so I guess the first step here is to get this replacement keyboard disconnected and swapped over into the top half of the case. The connector for it is really stiff. Like far stiffer than I think it needs to be, making it a little bit challenging to get off. Wow, that's tight. Okay, that releases the new keyboard. Actually, I need to hold on to that. We will set this out of the way for now. Do not drop it. And we'll just swap it straight across. I'm not sure that it's new, which is really nice. Looking down under the keys, the little fingers that make contact are gold plated, and they look brand new, which of course the keyboard is. So it's not going to hurt to have a really nice new keyboard in the system. This keyboard's just dusty inside. Yeah, the contacts on these do look, they're used, and I can see that, they're used over time. Some of the gold plating has worn down, it looks like, on these. They're not as shiny as the new keyboard ones. So let me set that aside. Oh. Every time I pick up this keyboard, I knock keycaps off of it. It's hard not to. It's usually these same two, 6 and 7, because that seems to be where I grab it. Now that's interesting. 7 looks really shiny and nice down inside. And 6 didn't look as nice. There's the 6 keycap. This should just sit down in the same position. So remember the secret to screws turn into plastic, if I can actually make it work here, and that is we don't want to cut new threads in the plastic. And if you turn the screw backwards, you can usually feel the screw drop down into the threads that were cut the first time it was put in, and that I certainly felt that there. I felt that one drop down in. You actually heard that one pop when it dropped down in. As you did that one. So I'm not cutting new threads into the plastic posts. I'm just re-engaging with the threads that were cut the first time the screws were put in, and that'll make the post last a lot longer. If you continually cut new threads, as the screws go in and out, eventually you wear the hole out. I know this was originally stuck down here for strain relief, but that does give us a nice brand new keyboard. I don't think I need to remove those and clean them. They look okay. The light pipe is interesting, and the whole with the incognito board, converting this into a push button for the incognito board is interesting. I will probably put an incognito update in this system. Well, that's the button for the mic switch, so the system shuts down when you open up the trap door. I will probably add on incognito at some point just because it gives greater capability. It adds some of the features of later, I think, XE model. So I'll remove the paper now. This was just simply holding the micro switch down so I could test. Should be able to knock this board out. The heatsink here certainly did get warm around the 7805. Even with that resistor dropping, you know, some voltage, creating heat there, it definitely got warm. So being 105 degree caps here makes a lot of sense. So set that aside. Oh, if I can keep from dropping stuff. Go ahead and lift this out. It's just so clean. It kind of blows my mind how clean the system is. Okay, we're back to this. I need the cast material. It was obvious once I got the plastic here on that this board could only go in one way. You couldn't put the board any other way. It wouldn't clear the plastic, the chips wouldn't. So then I knew the orientation. I also played a bit with this pot here while I had it apart. And it adjusts the color. It's not adjusting, you know, the peak-to-peak video signal. It's adjusting color. So I basically set it back to where it was. We actually want to... Let's see if I can actually sit this down in with the boards in it. Well, I have to with the CPU board in it. There's no way to insert the CPU board from above. That all looks fine. The CPU board. Oh, there's a hole here for adjusting that pot. Very nice. See the things I'm learning? I do the same thing with these. I tend to turn them backwards until they drop down into the threads. I don't want the ones with the washers. That way they're not trying to cut fresh threads into the cast material. That one gave me trouble before when I was trying to start a screw in it. You can probably see that I'm not tightening these up at this point. I'm just getting them started. Then I drop the screwdriver. It's always helpful. We know the self-tapper was there. I've even got a mark. That one the hole is completely stripped out on. It makes me wonder if there was another self-tapper there. Though I would have noticed. The hole's just completely stripped out. And I'm not sure why. Thing is built like a tank. self-tapper here, and I don't know where it goes. I do not remember there being a second one. Oh, there certainly was a self-tapper in there as well. That wasn't me cutting new threads, so there should be 3 washers and 3 identical screws with washers, and there still are 3. So that all makes sense. Okay, so there was a self-tapper in 2 positions. I just missed it. Maybe that's intentional. Oh, come on, pencil. I've just marked both in pencil to be self-tappers. That is that. Now I need the bottom back. As the next round mounts this. Screws actually go. Those are for the power supply, the 3 with the washer. And the speaker just sits in there like that. Power supply board. There's an alignment pin here to help get it into the correct position. And it would help if I put the alignment pin into the correct hole. That's all flushed up nice. There are these 2 screws with the washers. Oh, come on, fingers. One. Hopefully there's enough. I was saying hopefully the screwdriver is magnetic enough to hold the screw and washer, and it did. And I want the 3rd one here. And I see it all the way back here. Again, I'm turning these backwards till I feel it drop into the threads that have been cut, and then I'm turning them down reasonably tight. Blue was to the inside, purple to the out. We wrote that down, but I do remember it. So we've really got there's 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. There's some extras here, and I'm trying to remember where these extras went. There's 3, and there's there's 5 that come in from the bottom. I'll drop the speaker out. That's got to sit the way I've been setting it in there. these are up here, which is weird to me that these were not machine threads, but you know, that's the right screw. There was 3 more screws that went someplace. Oh no, is it 7 in from the bottom of the case? Oh no, this has got to sit in here and be screwed in and then the bottom put on. I am remembering this backwards. This whole thing needs to lift out of here. I got the assembly order swapped around in my head. Now this piece comes up. He will get set down here in place. I've still got to hook up the which is essentially there. And then there's internal screws. Of course, not quite sitting down in place where it should be. But I need to get the keyboard cable on, which it now is. What are you caught on? What are you not clearing? These back here are lined up. I think it set down on finally. Okay, kind of frustrating. So there's 3 internal ones. There's one here. There's one here. And I believe there's one. Look at the bottom of the case. It's got there and there. 3 along the front. So there's one more screw someplace. I think that actually sits there and points down. So we'll just go ahead and put it in for now. And there's one right there, but that's still not sitting in as flush as I'd like. See, I've never taken one of these apart before, so this was all rather new to me. I've watched videos of other people doing it, which I always recommend. Okay, that gets everything mounted back in. One here. Everything but the speaker is held in. Now it's just a matter of getting the bottom on. It looks to me like it should just drop down on. Of course it doesn't. It probably has to pull in over those, and it does. There's a bit of plastic chipping there from people trying to plug in the joystick. We've got, since all 8 of these are identical, we've got 2 back here. Same thing, backwards till I felt it. You heard the click, that was it dropping down into the original thread. I felt it more than heard it in that case. So I'm happy with the design envelope. It's pretty cool. Let's see if I can actually get this screw tight enough. Okay, that screw was loose before, and the clamshell here would spring kind of open a little bit. I don't know why that screw was loose. We can see here the serial number, 1164. I don't see anything on here that gives me a date. Now, I don't know if this is 233011164. I mean, I just don't know. Or 1164, number 233 in that batch, more likely. That really does get all of that back together. The composite, or the RF modulated video cable, is no longer in the system, which is what I wanted. This can go back on. It actually has an orientation, and I had it backwards. Sits in there. Put it all the way completely back together. Oh, come on. Yeah, it kind of sucks that it doesn't have those little finger things to make it a little bit easier to open up, but such is life. Well, I've got a nice look inside. I've got the fumble through reassembly. Took a few attempts back and forth to get it to catch into the original threads. This should still be actuating the little switch, and it is. I can put the basic cartridge back in if I can spot it. It's interesting that there's no cartridge connector on the left or the right. Maybe it was never used, I don't know. And we're back together. I could do a clean on the outside of the case. haven't done that yet, but it's actually really clean overall. It just needs a little Windex and a wipe down. A little bit of cleaning on those keys and I'll be fine. So, I think there it is. We're back together. It should work. It was tested before it was put back together and everything looked good. This point now is to put away some of this kind of stuff. Hold on to the original keyboard here. Get it all cradled away in there. There it goes. It's all down in there nice. I'll put some tape on that later. And we've got the caps that we pulled out. All the screws have been put back in. I think this part of the project's done. Tools are turned off. I can shut the bench down, go plug the thing in, and play some more. So, if you got this far, appreciate your watching, and I'll see you in a future video.